Hey, Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News. Wednesday, June 26, 2024. Stand up for your country. About 24 hours before the debate, give or take. And I've had quite enough of speculation. If you watch television news, I don't know, every time I hear something, well, maybe this, I just turn it off. They have to fill time, these programs on cable and the network too. Although if you watch the network newscasts, they're now weathercasts. It's like the Weather Channel is taking over. Oh, bad weather, it's global warming. Okay, that's what they do. But on cable, the speculation is just killing. So what I decided to do here is personalize this debate. So if I were the moderator, I have 5 questions for Biden and 5 questions for Trump that I would ask. And I'm going to pose them so that you can comment. Bill@BillO'Reilly.com, Bill@BillO'Reilly.com. And tomorrow I'll read a lot of your mail about the questions. And if you have a question, you can send it to me. I never have moderated a debate. Now, at one point when I was at Fox News, I said to Roger Ailes, the guy in charge, I said, look, if you put me up to moderate the debate between Romney and Obama, you'll get record ratings. You know it and I know it. It'll be a totally different extravaganza because I'm going to hold both candidates accountable for what they say. I'm not going to let them dodge, weave, evade. That's not going to happen. So why don't you let me moderate that debate? Here was the answer. Fox News would like to have more debates in the future, O'Reilly. So we're not letting you debate. And he was right. He was absolutely right, because I would go in and I would interview those people like I interview everybody. I'm not going to, let them say something isn't true or not answer the question. So it would be much more intense. And the political game is, obviously, the networks derive huge amount of money and viewership from these debates. And Fox wanted to have debates. So if you look at the Fox moderators, they're not confrontational people like I am. And I understood. I wasn't mad, by the way. I kind of laughed. And I said, all right, I understand your point. All right, let's get to the questions. So here are the questions I would ask Joe Biden. I would ask him more than this, but here are the top 5. The first one for President Biden: your open border policy, Mr. President, has cost the U.S. taxpayer an estimated $151 billion and led to millions of foreign nationals living here unsupervised. And that's according to the Federation for American Immigration Reform. Why did you change immigration policy that resulted in those very troubling statistics? Okay. Now, Biden can't deny the question. It's in stone. It's $151 billion taxpayer dollars at least. Cities hemorrhaging money. Gone. Up to 10 million foreign nationals here since Biden's been in. And we don't even know about the guy that snuck across, got away. All right. So Biden would have to answer why he opened the border. But I wouldn't say, why did you open the border? Because then he would say, I didn't open the border's secure. And then it's just a merry-go-round, just go around in circles. Second question: the cost of essentials of life for the working American in your administration is more than 17%. Food prices up 21%. Can you explain that? All right, very simple. Stats are in stone. He can't deny it. Can you explain it? Now, he'd probably blame COVID and all of that, but all right. But under Trump, and this is my follow-up, he had COVID too. You didn't have anything like that. Okay, third question. When the United States left Afghanistan, your administration abandoned $7 billion worth of American weapons to the Taliban, according to the Department of Defense. Why did you allow that? Very simple. Why'd you allow it? Got to answer it, right? Fifth question. Were you surprised when special counsel Robert Hur, in the documents case, said in his report, wrote it down, that you, the President of the United States, present as a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory? Does Mr. Hur describe you accurately? There you go. And he'll go, no. And then you follow up, well, why would he put it in there? So those are the 5 for Biden. Here. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped number 4. My producer just yelled at me in my ear. See, I present as an old, doddering man. All right, here's 4. You and your wife, Mr. President, have refinanced the mortgages on 2 Delaware homes to the tune of $6 million. Why? Whoa! We reported that last night. You refinanced $6 million worth of mortgage. Why? He'd probably go, I'm not answering that, but it's got to be asked. All right, here's Trump. I promise I'll get all 5 of them in. Number 1, Donald Trump. There have been no successful federal prosecutions of voter fraud in 2020. Why do you think that is? Right? Goes right to the heart of the election. Number 2, in the 4 years of your administration, Mr. Trump, the national debt increased almost $8 trillion, according to the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. Why? Now there, Trump's going to fall back on COVID too, just like Biden will in inflation, but $8 trillion is a lot of money. Third question, what exactly would you do, Donald Trump, to stop the fighting in Ukraine? Very specifically, what would you do? Now, Trump's usual answer is, well, I'm not going to tell you because then Putin would know. I don't know in this case if voters are going to buy that. Number 4, how exactly would you deport millions of undocumented aliens when the federal courts would likely block your attempts to do so, which they absolutely would? So how are you going to do it? But Trump says he's going to, day 1, the massive deportation, biggest in history. Courts are going to slap an injunction on it, going, no, you can't. Because of due process. I'd like to hear Trump's answer to that. Number 5, can you explain what your executive order will be on day 1 to fix the border? What will the EO say? There you go. All right. So I think those 10 questions are pretty tough, right? Wouldn't you like to hear the answers to all of those? And then if they evade, I would say, you really didn't answer that. But then you have to move along. You can't force them to answer. You got to move along. All right. That's the memo. Again, bill@BillO'Reilly.com. If you have questions or you have a critique of my questions, I want to hear from you because we're going to do a longer mail segment tomorrow. All right. So Biden is still at Camp David, day 7 of prepping. A lot of prep. Trump's in Mar-a-Lago prepping. That's, I think, day 2 for him. Joining us now from Albuquerque, New Mexico, is Professor Emeritus at Northeastern University School of Journalism in Boston, Alan Schroeder. Now, Professor Schroeder and I have a lot in common. Number 1, I went to the Boston University School of Communications, which is about 200 yards away from Northeastern. Number 2, we both have graduate degrees from the Kennedy School at Harvard, and we have worked as journalists in some of the same places like Denver, Colorado. So I'm very pleased to talk with you. Your reaction to my 10 questions, first of all.
Those are good. I like those. You know, I don't know that any of them will particularly get asked. You never know what the topics are going to be, but yeah, I think those would be interesting to hear answers to.
Well, I chose them because Americans need to hear the answers to all of those 10 questions. Now, you say you're not sure whether they'll be asked. What would prevent Dana Cash and Jake Tapper from asking them?
Nothing. It's certainly their part of their job here to come up with a list of questions. I don't know whether we'll get the exact ones that you outlined there. I'm sure there'll be a lot on the border. I'm sure there'll be a lot on immigration, inflation. So the general topic areas that you outlined there, I think we can expect to hear discussion of that.
Okay, but it's how the questions are worded. You got to eliminate wiggle room. All right. You got to be very specific, back up with stats so that the candidate can't say, oh, you're blah, 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 blah. So Trump supporters expect the convicted felon question. All right. They expect the insurgency question. You instigated January 6th. Those are political questions. All right. But I'm doing policy questions. If I'm Trump and somebody asked me about the insurrection and I instigated, I said, well, why wasn't I charged then? The special counsel wants to charge me on anything. He didn't charge it. Why wasn't it? Why didn't he charge it? That puts an end to that. All right. And I did throw in the election of 2020 because I know that'll be in there. Now, as far as your expertise in this thing, my opinion was Lincoln Douglas, Kennedy Nixon, first televised debate, maybe Carter Reagan 1980, and now this one are the four most important debates in American history. Did I leave anything out?
No, there have been years where I thought they made a difference, maybe more on the margins. Certainly 1960 was a huge one, not only because it was the first round, but because it really, I think, legitimized Kennedy to the point where he got elected. Carter Reagan, that's a really interesting debate. There was only one presidential debate that year, and it was held a week before the election. Believe me, no candidate has ever made that back again.
Right.
Lincoln Douglas, of course, I would almost put that in a different category because way pre-television, the candidates spoke for an hour at a time, in some cases, half an hour in rebuttal. And so I don't think modern audiences would be able to deal with that.
I chose
think
that.
92 is interesting. Yeah.
The reason I chose the Lincoln Douglas, and there were three of those, but the first one is the one that influenced history the most because Abraham Lincoln was then catapulted to national fame and 2 years later was elected president, which altered all of our history to this day. And that's why I chose it, to show the power that debates can have. Now, you make it an excellent point where Reagan wiped Carter out in the debate, and that was the end of Carter because it's just a week before the vote. This is a longer period of time, and there is a conspiracy theory going that the Democrats wanted it this early because if Biden falters, it gives them time to put somebody else up. Have you heard that?
I've heard that. That seems pretty far-fetched to me. Although I do think it's pretty weird to have a debate in June, and I haven't quite figured out what the calculation is on that, except that if Biden or Trump, either one, has a bad debate, they got plenty of time to recover from it before the next one in September. But I think having one in June, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, people are still voting. There were just primary elections yesterday.
Yeah.
And here we are at a general election debate. It seems a little crazy to me.
See, I've given it a little more credence than you are because I know the Democratic Party, I know this to be true, very worried about Joe Biden. And if Biden does not make it through the debate, if he has a senior moment or two, he's not going to come back from that because that'll be indelible in people's minds. September 10th, not even going to matter. And then at the convention, as you know, with the rules, Biden can do an LBJ and say, look, I'm going to hang it up. And then I'm going to throw my delegates that I've already won to whoever the DNC thinks is a better candidate or a legitimate candidate. So I'm not dismissing it the way you are. I think that there is more to it than just an early debate, because there's always a reason in politics, always. And the Biden people didn't have to push this at all. Final question, CNN they got a terrible reputation, and it's taken a huge toll on its audience. They're down below 500,000 people in prime time now. As contrast, I did 6 million in prime time when I was doing the factor. That counts 2 runs. They lost much of their audience because of the Trump hatred. Because unlike MSNBC, which is a hardcore left-wing network, CNN portrayed itself as, the legitimate voice of news coverage. And now it's suspect in traditional conservative precincts. So can they rise from that using this debate?
I don't think one debate, one 90-minute segment of television is going to be able to reverse their fortunes. Now, I think it has the potential to be the highest watched program in the entire history of CNN. But of course, remember too, they're sharing the audience because this thing will be simulcast on various networks.
Right.
So is this a lifesaver for the network? No. Is it something that they're using to their public relations advantage? Absolutely.
Do you agree with me that the audience decline is based upon conservative traditional people not watching because of their virulent anti-Trump posture?
There may be something to that, although what we see a lot with cable news is there's a lot of fluctuation in those ratings. And so if you've got something happening that causes people to want to watch TV, they flock to those cable networks. But otherwise, the tendency, I think, is for the viewership to go flat.
Yeah. Okay, Professor, thanks very much. We really appreciate your expertise. Have you ever been buried in debt, piles of overdue bills, threatening phone calls, and it just won't stop? Done with Debt is your way out. They have developed aggressive new strategies to end your debt permanently. Done with Debt tirelessly negotiates with your creditors to lower or even forgive what you owe. And they do it all without bankruptcy or new loans. Done with Debt has unique strategies to get you out of debt faster. But you need to hurry because some debt solutions are time sensitive. Visit donewithdebt.com and talk with one of their debt relief strategists for free. You have nothing to lose except your debt. Go to donewithdebt.com, donewithdebt.com. Okay, let's go to the mail. Ravona Roper, North Highlands, California. Love the No Spin News. You reported that the Bidens refinance their home mortgages every 17 months. My question, do the taxpayers make money from this? No, it has nothing to do with the taxpayers. My question is, why are you refinancing to the tune of $6 million? We should know that. He's the president. Janet, concierge member, $6 million has to be parked somewhere. You cannot legally give millions away. This should definitely be investigated. You're right. The top you can give away is $12,000. That's a year in gift before the IRS swoops in. So, good story. Charles Snyder, White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. Your message of the day on 6/26, that's today, was spot on. Donald Trump needs to stop the name calling, stick to the facts. I hope he does that. But I want everybody to read the message of the day, still posted there on BillO'Reilly.com. That's free, by the way. You don't have to be a member of anything. Columns are free, messages are free. Sherry Louder, Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. It's so disheartening when researching on the internet for an honest answer. I'm left to discern which story is based on facts or opinion. How will our great-grandchildren know the truth? The truth is being obliterated in this country very quickly. And that's the way the totalitarians want it. They don't want you to know the truth. And propaganda is seeped in to our news coverage here at a frightening degree. Dan Goodwin, Sarasota, Florida. O'Reilly, thank you for highlighting adoption as an alternative to abortion. I find it extremely troubling that Kamala Harris and Jill Biden are traveling on the taxpayers' dime, yes, they are, to promote unlimited abortion. I'm troubled by it. I don't think it's right. Mark from West Virginia. Bill, having the need for the Supreme Court to hear a case as to whether or not sex change procedures can be done on minors just shows you the direction our great country is headed. That's right. That's right. Minors without parental permission. But even with parental permission, some states are saying, no, we're not doing it. That's what the Supreme Court is hearing. Tim Dormans, Mountaintop, Pennsylvania. Bill, I appreciate your sharing ratings for other news programs, but you never mention the ratings of the No Spin News. Well, that's because we are not a linear operation here. That means that our ratings are not calibrated by Nielsen. So I know my ratings on WABC Radio and our affiliates across the country do very, very well. But for this broadcast, nobody's tabulating it, but we know that millions of people watch it when you combine all of our distributors. I mean, we are on DirecTV, the First TV, Tubo, this one, that one. But our big audience now is on YouTube. Huge, worldwide. But there's nobody that collects all that data because it would be impossible. The Nielsen linear people, they put little gizmos on television sets and it reports right back. You couldn't do that on all of these other operations that we have. But we are very pleased with the amount of people that watch and listen to the No Spin News. Michael Griffin, Winter Haven, Florida. I'm writing to let you know how much I enjoy the Killing Book series. My grandson loves history. He's in Army basic training right now, and I'm going to give him the Killing Books because I know he'll enjoy them. And he'll be a lot smarter, Michael. You read all 13 Killing Books, you'll be a smart kid. All right, I knew that my audience was intelligent because you'd have to be to absorb the information that we give you every day. You have to be, okay? So we had the best concierge membership on BillO'Reilly.com offer ever, and it's blowing the lights out. So if you become or upgrade your membership to concierge or renew, you get any of my books free, including the upcoming Confronting the Presidents and a Not Woke mug. 2 free items for concierge membership. Now, because this is such a generous offer, I'm going to have to put a limit on it. It's not going to be around much longer. But boy, oh boy, this is the best we can do because we want you to be concierge members because you have direct access to me. We can help you out and all of that. So you can re-up, you can sign up, you can upgrade from premium, and you'll get lots of free stuff, good stuff. We also have a 4th of July for you. The Not Woke mug, and then the Stand Up for Your Country mug is only $10. The Not Woke mug is full price, okay? But the Stand Up for Your Country is $10, so if you add the two together, it's really a buy. These are made in America. They'll last a lifetime. Great message. Everybody wants the Not Woke mug. I mean, we've on our 5th reorder now. Believe me, the distributor is going crazy, loves it. I know we have the Killing Books bundled and all of that, so if you haven't read the Killing Books, you might want to check those out. Word of the day, do not be a coxcomb, C-O-X-C-O-M-B as in boy, coxcomb, great word. Don't be that. Back with a final thought in a moment. In today's economic climate, many face the challenge of managing monthly expenses, and high credit card interest rates can keep you trapped in a cycle of debt. Paying the minimum each month means delaying becoming debt-free. Reach out to American Financing, a trusted partner in achieving financial freedom. If you are a homeowner, they can tap into your home's equity to help eliminate your high-interest credit card debt. On average, their customers save $854 a month. That's equivalent to a $10,000 raise at work. You could close your loan in 10 days. And by acting today, you might not have to pay your next mortgage payment. It costs nothing to see how much you can save. So regain control of your finances. Call 888-462-9557. 888-462-9557 or visit americanfinancing.net/bill. Everything is expensive these days, you know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. If the government continues its printing and spending, the dollar could continue its free fall and lose its coveted role as the world reserve currency. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Okay, final thought of the day. I was at the Met Yankee Subway Series last night, Citi Field, packed house. And you know, New York is known for kind of being a violent place sometimes. And all. I'm telling you, there wasn't any problem between the Yankees and Met fans. They were joshing each other. There would be a chant, "Let's go Yanks," and it would be overwhelmed by "Let's go Mets." Everybody's having a good time. There's no angst. You know, if you remember the Dodgers and the Giants out in the mellow West Coast, they beat the tar out of each other sometimes. Nothing happened. So I'm at the game, and I'm very privileged to, know a lot of the baseball officials and all of that, and we have good seats and everything. And then, unbeknownst to me, I didn't know this, the camera zeroes in. Roll the tape.
So Cole looking for his first easy inning, has retired the first two in the third.
Hi, Darryl and Bill O'Reilly. How about that? Strawman. Bill is very tall. Tall as Darryl.
There's Francisco Alvarez, who walked his first time up, and he takes strike.
So there I was, Darryl Strawberry, one of the greatest Mets ever, and he did very well for the Yankees. I had a fascinating conversation with Mr. Strawberry. He's a preacher now. He's a minister. Went to school for it, and he lives in St. Louis, and he travels around the country. And we're talking about killing Jesus. We're talking about the game, too. But he wanted to know a lot of the stuff that we had in Killing Jesus. No religion there in that book, but it's all history. I told him where we got it and how we got it. And he was fascinated by it. And he's a good guy. I've known Darryl for a while. He's a Hall of Famer. And then in the booth, it was Doc Gooden was there, Mike Piazza, two more Hall of Famers. I mean, they were all in that booth. It was really, really a good night. And, that is the upside of doing what I do, that I get access to a lot of things that, regular people wouldn't. The downside is that as we become more powerful, and we're seeing this now in the country, that organized smear attacks, here they come. And we knew it. We knew it. I mean, the more influential you'll get, the more the far left will try to hurt you. There's a little bit of that on the far right, too, all right, but not nearly as much. And the thing that people don't know is that these smear merchants, gutter snipes, they're paid to put this stuff out on the internet. They're paid. And it's a tough investigation because it's cash, but it's organized. And I talked about it with Hannity today on his program, on his radio program that I do every Wednesday. That came up, that subject came up. Because Hannity and I, we started at the same time in '96 on the Fox News Channel, and we've both seen it all. I mean, we know what's happening in this country. And you're going to see, if Biden does not do well in the debate tomorrow night, and Trump starts to build a lead in the polling, you are going to see from the far left unprecedented personal smear attacks on Donald Trump and anybody who supports him. And there's no question about that. They are coming, if that happens. And you think, well, it can't get any worse. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it can. And, with our justice system collapsing, you can't sue them. take 5 years and $3 million, and then you get a liberal judge, and you go, okay, there you go. They can do it with impunity. Anyway, I had a great time at the Met-Yankee game. Loved both teams. Both managements are terrific. And that's one of the great things about living in New York. A lot of downside, but that's an upside. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. We will have a special preview tomorrow of the debate. After the debate, I will be on News Nation. During the debate, I'll be on WABC Radio, WABC.com, doing play-by-play. Just like Keith Hernandez and Ron Darley and Gary Cohen. Best booth, by the way. Those guys are great for the Mets. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.